Hi, thanks for joining me on day 4 of 100 Days of 6-Minute Stories. Before I get started with the story, I have to make a confession. So I hope you'll still be friends with me and you won't block me right away, but the truth is, I'm not inherently a dog person. Okay, hear me out. I am not a sociopath. I still think that dogs are cute, and I love when they're small and fuzzy and they have tiny tails and funny butts like a corgi. But as long as I can remember, I've always been more of a reptile and insect person. My twin sister says I just haven't found the right dog yet, and that may be true, but she also can remember a time when I would spend my days catching roly-polies, Japanese beetles, and collecting them and trying to get permission to bring them into the house. So I will say that I blame my parents. When we were kids, we were actually homeschooled before we even got into the school system, and we were assigned these book reports that we had to complete when we got a new book. And one of my favorite ones that I had at home was called The Giant Book of Bugs. And it was just as it sounds. It literally was this full collection with HD photos of bugs all over the world that were oversized and gargantuan. And if you opened a page, if it was like a moth or a butterfly, the pictures would actually pop up. And I just found it so fascinating, and it started my desire and need to sort of explore and capture these things even more than I already had the interest for. I think it was enough of a healthy obsession that at some point I could have seen myself going down the road of being an entomologist, the study of insects. So there was one time when my mom took us to Toys R Us that I recall. We must have been agreeable children because we were allowed to choose a toy. And the toy that I brought home, that I came home with, was a stuffed ant that was red. It was about this big, with shimmery speckles and a drawstring that when you pulled it, it would buzz across the floor. And now that I think back as an adult, I find it extremely odd that I chose this toy, because not but a few years prior, when we were in Ghana, did I have a traumatic experience with a real giant ant. and I am not exaggerating. So I think I had my guard down while we were there, not only because we were with family and I love being outside, but one of the first days that we were there, I remember I was sitting on the steps outside of the house we were staying, and only a few meters away did I see something incredible. It was a male praying mantis. Okay, you guys are probably wondering why would that be exciting, but okay, how many of you have seen a praying mantis in real life? Like, even as a kid, I knew this was a big deal. I didn't go near it. It didn't really move, but I felt like inspired to adventure and find different insects that I wouldn't see anywhere else. I was cautious enough that I didn't usually approach insects that I didn't know anything about, but I was just so excited that I had seen a praying mantis. So a couple days later, again, I'm kicking it outside. I'm sitting on the ground, which is not uncommon, and there's an ant. It's oversized, it's giant, and I didn't do anything. I was just sitting there. I was minding my own business. We were enjoying each other's company, I thought, when I look down and I see these pincers attached to my inner thigh. Okay, I think I was in shock for a minute because I did not even register the fact that I was in pain until I could then hear myself screaming because people came outside and were wondering what had happened. So in the States, I had played with ants. Their pincers don't usually pierce your skin. So I didn't even think it was going to come near me. I didn't know it was aggressive. And the adults had to take tweezers to get it out of my leg, to put on ointment, and to comfort me. So it's just ironic that the thing that I respected and admired would literally one day, a very early day in my life, come to actually bite me in the ass, so to speak. So that's why I think it's really funny that not long after, I still have this stuffed ant that I adore, that I went to sleep with, that I carried everywhere. And I will say, like, I still love insects. I'm not outside collecting them or digging through the mud, but they are just really calculated creatures that I think deserve more respect than they get, and I definitely have learned that respect and distance is what I will give some of them.